to Truth and Love Apologetics. Today we are in episode 5 where we talk about how do we do apologetics.
That's great. It's good to get ourselves started off. So first we're going to start with a question. And I think that's just how it's going to go ultimately, back and forth.
Yeah.
So Ben, how would you say we do apologetics specifically in discussion?
I'm going to say this is not the only way, but we start having conversations, and I mean genuine conversations. I think where people listen,
Yeah.
And they respond, and they try to do their best to hear what the other person is saying. They ask questions, interact, that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, the questioning method or asking questions is a fantastic method to use. It displays a lot of curiosity and interest in what somebody's saying. So, and it should be genuine questions, genuine curiosities that we're discussing, or the genuine curiosities that stir the question that we ask. But it should also be aimed at a specific goal and have purpose. And it keeps the burden of proposition making and defending a proposition, it keeps that burden off of us when we're asking questions. So it kind of keeps you in control in the driver's seat, and it is also a much more comfortable way to have a conversation. So we want to ask questions. We want to verify what people are saying. We also want to listen, like you suggested, right? We don't just want to have our canned statements that we want to make and not adjust with the conversation accordingly. So we want to listen to understand what people are saying, and then ask those clarifying questions. Is there anything else that you think about when it comes to having how we do apologetics specifically in the form of discussion?
Yeah, I just think it's really important to show whoever we're talking to that we're listening. That we're not just trying to force our worldview down their throat.
Yeah.
We want them to know that we're engaging with them on a serious level, not just forcing Christianity into their world.
Yeah, that's for sure. But also, what do you think about? I mean, we kind of already did this in a previous episode where we try to point out the things that are true about what people are saying. We try to develop this common ground between the two of us. And when we were dealing with objections specifically to apologetics that could arise, we made a point to acknowledge what's true in those claims. If we were discussing the problem of evil with somebody, we could all readily agree that evil exists in the world and it's a tragedy, and that it is something we're both distinctly opposed to, whoever your interlocutor is, whoever you're having that conversation with. So these are just some of the things that we would approach. Is there other things that you can think of apart from just the listening aspect of things, which is no small matter?
Yeah, listening is huge for sure. Yeah, I think that's just a really big starting point, is being willing to listen to someone. And yeah, I'm not sure I have anything else.
No, that's good. Also, with the apologetics, we try to make a point to draw out implications. Like we try to make an effort to. This is one of those Greg Kokel tactics types of things, and I don't remember exactly what he calls it, but it's pretty much like getting in somebody else's worldview. Is kind of like getting into a car and taking it out for a spin. And so we kind of try to follow the implications of what they believe to their logical conclusion and see where it ends up ultimately.
See if there's any inconsistencies.
Yeah.
See if it ends up being consistent with other areas of what they believe, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
if they contradict one another.
Yeah. And if it's an accurate statement,
yeah.
Right. That kind of stuff gets revealed as you listen, ask for clarification, that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah. So let's see what our next question is. You have that thing loaded?
Yeah. I think it's great that we can talk about how we have these conversations once we get there. But another question that I think a lot of people have is, well, how do I start these conversations? How do I bring up the subject of Christianity, of God's existence, of Jesus dying on the cross for people's sins? How do I bring that up when people are talking about sports or video games or their favorite TV show? Like, how do I get Christianity into the conversation?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, it's something that you care about. I think it's pretty easy for people who care about sports to steer a conversation in that direction. It just kind of comes out of them, or they ask questions about what people think about sports, and so they're ready to engage because they are passionate about it. So first and foremost, being passionate about this salvation that we share as Christ followers, and being willing to talk about it almost as an overflow of the excitement that you have about it. But that comes through in questions. So a question like, what do you think happens after we die? Or a question like, how in the world do you think we got here? Like, this has just been on my mind a lot lately. I want to get your thoughts about this matter, which is, how are we here in this universe, in this galaxy, on this particular planet right here that is so well equipped for us to survive on? How do you think that works? So just start with asking questions that you have genuine curiosities about, and you're genuinely pursuing, trying to understand, and try to get other people engaged in those conversations with the questions that you probably yourself have.
I think another way that we can kind of start these conversations, people are very, and this is not like trying to trick someone into having a Christian conversation, that kind of thing, but people are very interested in what's going on in the news or politics or that kind of stuff, and you got to be careful with this. But I think that when you can point out, like, hey, this is just really messed up, whatever it might be. This is really sad news. Why do you think that's happening? Why do you think that's going on? Because I think when we point out the brokenness in the world, that's an easy way to get to the core of maybe why does that person think, because everyone's going to acknowledge that there's brokenness in the world. The disagreement comes in why and how that's come into the picture. And so if we can acknowledge brokenness and then offer a solution to that brokenness, I think that's a good way. Another thing is when someone's really excited about something, whether it's they saw something in the sports and they're really excited about it, and you're like, hey, Messi's really talented. Isn't that really cool? And you can say, why do you think he's so talented? And maybe that can get into design. Like, there's just so many different avenues, I think, that you can start having these kind of conversations with. It's just about finding maybe something in a conversation that might seem shallow, finding something that points towards a deeper or ultimate reality.
You might even, like you mentioned Messi, the soccer player Messi, and we have a tendency we want to praise and to worship. It's built within us to praise and to worship. And we do that with folks that are abnormal, peculiar, or exceptional in something. They're unique and exceptional, incredible in some particular thing, like Messi is in soccer. So a conversation like that could easily turn to, why do you think we worship, or start with a question like, why do you think we worship and praise these extraordinary humans? What do you think is within us that makes us want to do that? And what do you think it indicates about maybe what we were designed for, or our purpose in this life? So those kind of conversations can readily come up if you're looking for them, willing to ask questions about things, and it starts that way, or that's a very helpful way to start conversations. We also can simply ask people what it is they believe. So it's not, people generally like talking about themselves. They generally enjoy telling you their ideas or sharing their ideas. So just simply asking somebody what it is they believe, maybe why they believe it, how they came to believe these particular things, is going to be a huge conversation starter. And then there's a matter of charitability on the other person's part, where you've asked these questions and you've engaged to understand who they are and very important things possibly in their life, and then they're going to be much more prepared or much more inclined to listen to you and what you have to say. So it kind of gives you an opportunity as well, once you've had the conversation, asked questions, engaged somebody, and tried to learn something about them. It's going to be like reciprocity. They're going to return the favor, so to speak.
And then there's always, of course, I think the blunt approach where you just say, "Hey, what do you think about Jesus?"
Yeah.
See what they say. Now
You don't shoot your shot,
yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah.
Send it.
Yeah, just full send and see how you respond. Because I mean, that's just the straightforward. And I mean, it does require a little bit of guts, I think, to do that. Because oftentimes we're afraid to just jump straight to the question. But I think. Not always, but I think there are times where you'd be surprised how people respond to just being honest and blunt. Like, hey, what do you think about this?
And that's a completely fine way. We always want to be, I guess, in tuned as much as we can to have those types of conversations or to do that. But the aim of apologetics is to get to the gospel. So you can definitely try it, and it may be, exactly what the Lord uses in that very moment. And it's also in the same vein of what we've already kind of discussed, which is that this is almost a boiling over of passion, excitement about this salvation we've received, about this merciful Savior that we've come to know. So that could easily come through in saying, what do you think about Jesus? He's my Lord and Savior, and I'm so elated at what he's done in my life. I just kind of want to know what you think about him.
Yeah.
So, and that could very well be received positively. So